Okay. Kanina, after I had a dual live, joint live with Madam Maharlika at YouTube, I had a Zoom invitation for a meeting with, along with the Filipino, United Filipino Global, sila Ma'am Jane Masoto, and of course, si Yusek Janice Salcedo, and of course, lahat ng global, worldwide leader ng DDS. Ilan kaya kami? Mga 40 plus, 30 plus, I don't know. Of course, si PCOO Director, Pibos Duki. And of course, nandoon, na-late ako kasi nga nag-live kami ni Madam Maharlika. Masarap yung kwentuhan namin. Panoorin nyo ang live ni Madam Maharlika sa YouTube. And follow me at my official YouTube account, Real Talk Discussions That Matters. So, nang nagsimula na sila, halfway na ang napuntahan ko. So, Secretary Duki was there. And I was preparing a lot of questions. Kasi ganito, I am critical of his policy. But since pagdating ko, paalis na siya, PhilHealth Director na lang nandoon. So maganda ang kwentuhan, maganda ang talakayan. We were able to vent out our frustrations on the PhilHealth and they educate us ano ang nasa laman ng Universal Healthcare Bill and of course ang mga processes, ang mga COVID and so on and so forth. But meron pang succeeding sa susunod with perhaps sa plano Committee on Health ni Senator Bongo. But anyway, ganito. Regarding sa PhilHealth, marami ang nagpasalamat tayo kasi nga the President directed, made an executive order or a policy that to suspend the mandatory PhilHealth payment instead gagawing voluntary, right? But under the Universal Healthcare Law, magsimula pa siya January 1st, 2021. Actually, wala siya sa IRR, sa Implementing Rules and Regulation, na i-implement na siya yung 3% na mandatory. Pero ganito, pasalamat tayo kasi the President listened to us, nag-monitor ang taga-PCOO sa social media, sa lahat, ano yung mahinaing ng mga tao. So, he ordered the directive na gagawing voluntary. But question, until when ito voluntary? And pag matapos ba ang termino ng Pangulong Duterte, voluntary pa rin ba? Or yung nasa batas ay i-implement na talaga? So, this is my take on that. Yung iba na nagdireklamo, bakit ano yan, gagawing voluntary yan, nandyan pa yan, ganun. Pasalamat tayo that the President acted fast, issued a directive, and that's the easiest way he can do, because the only way that particular provisions in the law will be strike out is kailangan ng amendment sa batas, and only the Congress, which is made of the House and the Senate, that can amend the law. So ibalik pa yan sa kanila at didesisyonan pa yan sa kanila. So kung gagawin yan, antayin pa yan, lalong matagal, kasi it will take time ipasuin yan eh. And so, with that, nag-issue ang Pangulo ng temporary suspension sa pagiging mandatory ng 3%. Gagawing voluntary lang. But here's the question, saan kukuha ang PhilHealth ng pera or budget na kailangan man talagang panustos sa mga may sakit na, especially matatanda, 60 and above, PhilHealth na, especially sa mga indigent, PhilHealth na. Kasi meron tayong source of income, PCSO, sa mga loto-loto, meron tayong source of income galing sa mga sin taxes. But sa pandemic ngayon, sino pang magbili-bili ng alak at mga UC-UC, pandemic, nasa loob ng bahay lahat. So mag-deplete ang budget, ang source of income para diyan. At saka sino pang magsusugal-sugal, hindi priority ang sugal ngayon. Porkit na lang, extra ang pera mo, magsusugal ka pa. Sino pang magkakasino? Sino pang mag-ano ng maluto-luto? Priority nga, bigas ngayon, di ba? Magdi-deplete ang budget. So, saan kukuha ang gobyerno? But this is the thing. This is my unsolicited advice. Lahat ng OFW, lahat ng nagtatrabaho sa Pilipinas, through their employers, should be mandated to have a private insurance or HMO. Health Maintenance Organization. Hindi ka contractual man, or corporate nga empleyado, dapat mayroong health insurance. And the payment of the health insurance should be divided between the employer and the employee. Kunyari, Blue Cross, mga Sun Life, mga Ayala, mga AXA. Pasalamat ka, minention ko yung mga life insurances ninyo. So, mandatory yan dapat. Ganito din sa Amerika eh. And whoever is hindi kuha ng insurance should be penalized by 10% of their annual income yearly para kukuha talaga ng private insurance. Now, ganito. Yung PhilHealth, for me dapat para yan sa mga senior citizens at para yan sa mga indigent. Para hindi masyadong mabigatan ang PhilHealth organization to give a discount or PhilHealth healthcare insurances even sa mga maka-afford. Kasi ganito man sa Amerika, yung Medicare at yung Medicare is for 65 years old and above. Yung medical is for the indigent. In between dyan, working class private healthcare insurance. And 70-30, 80-20, 80% babayan sa private healthcare or 20% sa'yo or 70 or 30 or 60, 40, merong dapat. That's why Filipinos need to have financial insurance literacy. Kailangan yan. We are 30 years behind kung wala yan. Ang sa akin lang is, saan kukuha ng budget ang PhilHealth when in fact, ang budget noon kinurakot at isa pa, there is a wrong diversification of funds. Kasi yung budget sa mga SSS, SIS, even sa PhilHealth, dapat i-invest mo yan. Mutual funds, stock market, gold, para manganak yan, manganak yung interest, para maglobo ang profit sa organisasyon, para panustos. Ganun yan dapat. But if they invested that to a wrong investment, na nalugi, kinurakot pa, mawalan talaga ng pera. Ang history dictate, panahon ni Aquino, panahon ng Arroyo, yun ang nangyayari. So, ang Philippines, walang pera. Saan kukunin ang pera? Kukunin ang pera for public welfare, para sa akin para sa akin. Kasi as a citizen of the republic, may taxes tayo lahat, pero may bill, maraming output. Kailangan talaga na magbayad tayo or magbigay tayo. But 3% is too much. For me, it should not be income-based and it should not have any compounding interest. Maybe perhaps across the board for a bracket, like say 50, ang annual salary 50,000 or 10,000 or less. Wala yung babayaran, pero 10,001 up to 50 grand. Perhaps 500 pesos or 2,400 pesos for the whole year na. Or yun lang. I mean, wag ninyong gawing 3% compounding interest. Pati dual citizen, pati green card, pabayarin ninyo. Hindi na nga yan nagtira dyan. Hindi pa yan makabenefit sa healthcare services niyo, pabayarin nyo pa. So, ang mga Filipino na OFW dapat magbayad, pero kung green card ka na, dual citizen ka na, wag na. Kasi on the first place, nirenounce na yan eh. Yung pagpadual sa isang tao, for the benefit lang yan of travel and perhaps owning property. But to settle down and to be hospitalized in the Philippines if we are get sick, I don't think so we are doing that. We don't. We are not. So, for public welfare, kailangan tayong lahat magbayad ng something for healthcare. Perhaps maybe 500 pesos for the whole year. Lahat ng OFW or 1% of the total income. Yun lang, walang compounding interest, walang 3%. I guess it is not too hard to ask if we want to improve our healthcare services in the country. Otherwise, if you don't want to pay, then suffer the situation of continued bulok na sistema at bulok na quality of care. Because I really asked the PhilHealth director how they diversified the funds before. And one thing that I asked during the question and answer portion, wala na kasi si Secretary Duque. Ang dami kong tanong sa kanya talaga. Sabi sa mga global presidents, mga DDS, Kelly, Secretary Duque is here. Halika na, punta ka na dito kasi I was ready with my questions and everything. So pagpunta ko, paalis na siya. Sabi ko, sayang. So, I had a chance to interact and to ask questions with the PhilHealth director, si Director Morales. Maganda naman, magaling naman siya, maganda ding pag-explain niya. Sabi ko, do we have an oversight committee to assess the quality of medical, nursing, rehabilitation services in the country? Wala. Walang centers for Medicare services, Medicaid services. Walang center for healthcare services. So who can magnify, who can assess the level of care, the delivery of care of the patient? Wala. Number 2, do we have an independent surveyor or independent healthcare surveyor, mga retired nurses, retired surveyors from the, that will execute utilization review, or that will check on the overutilization of services. Kasi I believe there is naubos ang pera dahil sa korupsyon. Overutilization of services. Say for instance, ang pasyente dapat pneumonia na kaso, dapat 2 days or 1 day lang yan sa Amerika, palabasin mo yan kasi pa-inumin lang yan ng antibiotic. Bakit sa Pilipinas, pastayhin pa yan ng 2 weeks? Pahiga-higain pa. What is that? The patient can walk. The patient, it's just PO. Wala ng IV. Bakit pa ipastay ng matagal? That is overutilization of services. You are milking the money of the PhilHealth to reimburse. That is a crime dito sa Amerika. We don't have that agency. Pangatlo, I ask, did we incentivize the healthcare facilities to on their reimbursement processes? Ang tanong, hindi pala. Kasi that is a mature healthcare system. The question is very good. We don't have that. Then I recommend to have that. What does it mean? For a hospital, there should be a ceiling. The shorter the stay of the hospital, of the patient to the hospital, the higher would be the reimbursement. The longer the stay of the patient to the hospital, the shorter will be the reimbursement. For instance, a simple case of diabetes, ha? Example lang yan, ha? Kung ang diabetic na pasyente ay makastay sa hospital, maximum stay ay 3 days lang, makuha niya ang maximum reimbursement, say for instance, 100,000. But the longer the patient stay in a private or a government hospital, the shorter will be the reimbursement. What does it mean? Ang 100,000 kung mag 5 days, 1 week na siya, ay magiging 50 o 40,000 na lang. Para the healthcare facility will level up with their services, the medical workers, the doctors, the nurses will level up their processes and their quality of care. They will strive hard to make sure that the patient will get better on time. And they should observe evidence-based treatment processes to make sure na mapalabas ang pasyente kaagad. Kasi ang nakikita ko sa Pilipinas, once ma-admit ang pasyente sa ospital, hindi pa galawin kasi baka mabughat, baka mabinat. You are killing the patient. You are putting the patient at risk to blood clot from immobility, to have a pneumonia from lying down in bed, to have a pulmonary embolism, to have a hospital-acquired pneumonia, hospital-acquired UTI. You are inviting deleterious effects of bed rest, mga pressure ulcer, mga pressure sores. Wala yan sa Pilipinas. We don't have that. Akala na, ma-hospital ka, na-operahan ka, mabughat ka, mabinat ka. Pahigain ang pasyente for 24 hours, 7 days. What is that? You are inviting those deleterious effects of bed rest. Why can we utilize evidence-based? So, sabi sa Health Director, you know what, that is a very brilliant idea. I never thought wala yan sa Pilipinas. And I really believe since I graduated there 20 years ago, wala talaga. Hanggang ngayon, ganun pa pala. Sabi ko, nagsasayang tayo ng pera. Nagbayad ang mga tao. Tapos, overutilization of services, overutilization sa mga kulang. And so with that, the head of the DDS Global, si Ma'am Gemma, sabi niya, perhaps we'll have a meeting with Senator Bongo sa Secretary of Health, Committee on Health sa Senate. So ako, in my own humble capacity, I'm willing to share what I learned here in the States para naman to improve the level of care. At para talaga, hindi kurakutin talaga, merong oversight committee talaga na independent, hindi lang taga-COA. Yung mga mag-hire sila dito na consultant na galing dito that will bring the best practices of healthcare. Diyan, galing dun sa UK, galing gastusan nila o ito ganun, and we will be helping them how to set everything, reimbursement processes, everything. Makikita yan, even sa chart, makikita kung may fraud, makikita yan lahat. Wala yan sa Pilipinas eh. Whatever the hospital build, yun ang babayaran ng PhilHealth. Biruin mo, overutilization sa wellness clinic noon ng dialysis. Ilan yun? Patay na, dinialysis pa. Bakit hindi nalaman? How is that? Because we don't have tracker, we don't have metrics, we don't have evidence-based processes, procedures. You have to level up your processes and systems to have a best quality of care. Diba? So yun lang.